What's up guys, I'm Justin Davis. Today we're going to check out the OMP Hobby Bighorn. This is a 3 to 4S plane. You can fly it on 4S. I'm going to test it on 4S. It's not really recommended, but 3S 2200 will have a nice mild flying trainer style plane. And we're going to do some 360 video on top. We'll do some line of sight. And then after that, I'll give you my opinion on this plane. As always, right here on the channel. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to do a surface check real quick. We're going to take off, and this is my first impression of the plane. Super smooth and predictable for beginners on 3S. Start out with 3S on this plane, and you can run anything from a 3S 2200 up to around, I'd say a 2800. 3000 started to get a little bit heavy, and it really didn't want to hover very good.
Have you even touched the trims yet?
Nope, I haven't even dialed it in at all. Low pass. So I have to say, this plane had a lot of comments on the field today. We're at the Flyways field today for a swap meet, and I'm a member here, but I've been out here other times during last year to fly, but this is my first time out this year because there was a fairly big meetup, and COVID's happening right now, but everyone's out here wearing a mask and having a good time, and honestly, there was a lot of talk about the Bighorn today on the flight line. A lot of the guys liked it. They compared it to the Timber. They said it was kind of like a Timber with sort of like a Balsa and Monokote style Timber. And that's kind of what this plane is. It's interesting because it does have a really short fuselage on it. So it really does 3D quite well. I think in an experienced pilot's hands, they could probably hover this a couple feet off the ground with no problem. But I was out doing my mild sport flying, my mild 3D with it with no problem right away, and it left me wishing that I had more throw in the control surfaces. It has ginormous control surfaces, kind of like you would expect from any typical 3D style plane. So it's kind of a hybrid plane that will do just about anything mild to wild. Oh, big outside, almost in full loop. Camera's still up there. Just VHV to do the top of the wing. And having to do a little crabbing to get down the runway. A little bit of wind, crosswind there. Oh! Hey now. Nice. Beautiful plane. I like it. Awesome. Let's put a 4S battery in there and let's see how it does with a 4S battery. 3S is check. Super smooth for the beginners. So, love the plane on 4S. Really nice and smooth. The motor sounds good. I like the prop. It's a speed prop. Pretty quick prop. Super quiet. Tail wheel works great. Really nice. Good job, Ohio Models. Good job. OMP Hobby, I'm impressed. 2 thumbs up from the Drone Camps channel, guys. Nice job on this one. So the maiden flight went good. It flew super smooth. I had the rates dialed back a little bit. I didn't want to go super crazy with the big control surfaces on this plane. You can do some massive 3D with it. If you want to get wild and do some really hard snaps and rolls with it, it will hover. It will do just about anything you want it to do. It'll knife edge. It will probably even Harrier if you have that type of flying skill. Now let's go ahead and take a little closer look at this plane. I'll talk about the components and then I'll give you my final opinion on sort of a Balsa and Monokote version, kind of a grown-up version of a Timber X. Here we go. Now the wingspan on this big guy is 49 inches and it is Balsa and Monokote construction. What's nice about it is the fact that the Monokote on here is extremely well done, and everybody at the field commented on that. You can actually tell how well it's done and how well it's shrunk to the frame by looking at this section right back here. It has a really nice smooth curve on both sides, all equal parts, and it doesn't have any type of delamination or any wrinkles in there. Look at that. It is perfect all the way around, top to bottom. Just a beautiful lamination on this plane. This is way better than my lamination skills. I've used the iron for years since I was a kid, but this is one of the nicest ones I've seen come out of the box looking so beautiful with the Monokote job. So I gotta say, like, thumbs up for the Monokote job. That's beautiful. I also like the tint on the windows here. You don't have any on the sides. These are just decals, but you also get extra decals and stickers in the box that come along with it. I chose not to put any on mine to start out with, but I was also happy that the power system was super smooth. It is a 12-inch prop on here, 12 by 6.5, and we have a Sunny Sky motor in here. It's a 2820 motor, and I believe it was 1100 kV. The prop is a little more of a speed prop in my opinion, but you can thicken this prop up to make it get a little more hover time if you want, and you can adjust your battery's CG to get a better hover. It just depends on how you want to fly it. If you're a beginner, put that battery all the way forward, and the CG point on this wing should be maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches back, and you should get a nice and level CG point before you take off. Very important that you test that. If you don't know how to do CG, be sure to get with someone who knows how to pilot RC airplanes and get your CG right before you take off the first time. Now also on my plane, I also put my Insta360 on the very top of this plane. So I put it right here and I pushed my battery as far forward as I could get, and the CG checked out, which is kind of amazing because it is quite a bit more weight to add this Insta360 camera up front, but I wanted to add a unique perspective for you guys for this review. Now it also comes with 17-gram metal servos all the way around, and what's so cool about this is that there are pre-installed. The only thing I had to do out of the box was install the control rods on here. So they're very similar to the same style of heli type of push rods. They have an open end and a closed end. So if you're trying to push it in on one side and it just doesn't feel like it's going to go, it is smaller on one side and bigger on the other. That's just one tip for the installation instructions on the control rods. But the other thing that was great as well was they have 3 bolts on the bottom here for the landing gear. That is kind of nice. You have those large soft tires on the bottom, and it will actually take off in grass. It'll take off in quite a bit of grass and not nose over on you, depending on what type of battery if you're using the 4S, you're gonna have more power and it's easier to nose over, so be careful for that. Other guys that also want to add in other components on here, it's cool because that hatch right there allows you to get in there and really play around with adding a flight controller if you decided to. You can add AS3X on here and add some stabilization if you are a beginner and you want that bailout switch, you can do that as well. One other thing that I noticed was that the cowling was pretty nice. It is very flush at the front where the motor plate mounts, and my spinner came off
because I lost a bolt. So once I lost the bolt, it was a little bit loose, so I ended up removing it for flight, but I didn't want to have any chance that might fly off. And you also have this hatch right here. OMP says you should put like a 3S2200 in here. I also experimented and played around with something as large as like a 3S3000, but it seemed to be a little bit too heavy and just add a little too much weight to the plane. If you want to get around 10 minutes flight time or more, you could probably do that. But the 3S2200 was still getting me about 6-minute flight time for this plane. And I think if you want to go just a little bit bigger, that's probably okay, up to about a 2800 at the max, or even the 2650 would probably be my max choice for this particular plane. So I think my final opinion on this particular plane, I do like the scale of it. I think it's going to be a pretty popular park flyer on the 3S2200 side of things. That's pretty much what a lot of the AMA field guys are flying, and a lot of my friends, as far as the park flyer size goes, that's the kind of the size of choice for around a 49-inch plane. And I think the flight time is good. The construction quality of the plane is just like really phenomenal. Like I just, again, you can see your reflection in this Balsa Monokote setup here. I was not using the flaps. I didn't have the extra channel on my park flyer receiver, but you can also use the optional flaps and it will take off super quick, or come and land in a little bit shorter runway. If you don't have much runway, you definitely want to set up the flaps on your plane. But this was just an initial test, guys, and we're going to do some more flying with the Bighorn. I want to do another review on this with full rates on here. I really want to see what it's going to do on full rates, because I think it's going to be super snappy. But this review was kind of set up for just a preliminary general review and overview of the Bighorn and some easy kind of Sunday flying with it, just to see how it would perform with some mild rates. But next up, guys, we'll throw some real high rates into it and have some 3D fun with the Bighorn. So thanks again for watching my channel, guys. I'm Justin Davis. Take care. Please do subscribe on my channel and hit me up on my Patreon if you'd really like to support the channel, and keep the videos coming, guys. Thanks again. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one.